Yes. What's going on, everybody? What's going on? Welcome to another episode of the Lion's Den with Seth. Y'all, so here we go. If this is your first time on here, welcome. And as a matter of fact, if this is your second or third time, welcome. All right? This is what we do. We focus on all things leadership, growth, and development with a call to action, right? From the household to out in the community. So welcome again. You know what I'm talking about? So we got the family up in here. We got the den up in here. Miss Danny, how you doing, ma'am?
I am great.
Tell me why you great. My goodness.
We feel settled in. We're still unpacking. We had a huge move, but we're overall settled in. You guys can see some stuff in the background. We'll figure out the setup. And we have a lioness joining us today, so I'm excited.
Oh, you like that, don't you? Okay, right on. Excited about that. But congratulations to your new career.
Thank you.
Jabri, what's popping, man? What's cooking, literally?
What's up, man? Absolutely nothing. I'm just
wait. You forgot you chefing, right? You're supposed to be telling us the dish of the week. What we got?
Not this week, man. I ain't felt like doing nothing, bro.
Sometimes it be like
that. Hey, it's good to be able to chill when you want to.
Ain't that about nothing?
The blessings of being self-employed. That's right.
I went to a gender reveal yesterday, man. Congratulations to my homie. They're having a little boy, you know.
Okay.
But, you know, I wanted them to have a girl because I can't have nothing but girls. So I wanted to share that experience.
For real.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, experience or curse? Because, listen.
Look, it's a blessing and a curse, man.
It is, isn't it? That's what's up.
Speaking of that.
Hey, speaking of the curse of the Lions Den, what's going on, homie?
Bro, hey, I got a little bit nervous when Jabri said he's going to a gender reveal, man. So I don't know what that,
Absolutely.
I don't know what that could mean today, man.
For real?
I don't know, man.
What's going on,
man? Hey, I don't know, man. I'm like, hey.
You know what? Just stop, bro. Look, we can't even be 5 minutes in the show. You're already out of line.
Hey,
so, wait, no,
hey,
man. How was your weekend, bro? How was your weekend?
Oh, did y'all see Vanderbilt beat Alabama?
Hey, that was terrible, man.
No, when was that? That was today?
That was yesterday.
I didn't see them beat them, but I did see the aftermath of them taking the
goalpost down and walking a 3 down. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But of course the volunteers couldn't let me enjoy it because they had to go ahead and lose later on in the afternoon. But man, everything is good, man. Everything's good. Excited about this show. Because you know why I'm excited about the show?
Tell me why you're excited, son.
It's because us three guys, and even Miss Danny, right? Us three guys, we have daughters. So we always talk about having a daughter from a male point of view. And Danny has a son. Has sons. So we never really get to hear about having a daughter from a woman's point of view.
Okay. Right?
You know what I'm saying? I know it's got to be a little bit. Hey, somebody block Twan off the show, man. Get him off of here. He never watched the show ever. Now today he wants to watch it because anyway.
Go ahead.
But anyway, back to what I was saying, man. Yeah. So this time we get to have a different perspective about something that we always talk about is child raising.
Okay.
You know what I mean? What is the difference, you know what I'm saying, when we're talking about a woman, a mother, and a daughter? Well, how does that relationship flow?
Okay.
You know what I mean? So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Miss Chanel Davis to the show so we can get this on.
Hello.
Welcome, ma'am. Welcome.
Hey, everybody. Hey, y'all.
Hold on. Jabri, was that you snapping?
Hey, y'all. We can snap.
To be that one. Ain't no snapping up in this.
He just went to that gym. He came back from a gender review, man. I don't know.
Stop it. I'm going to put you on timeout. Anyway, so how you doing, ma'am? Welcome to the den.
I'm great. Thank y'all for having me. Thank you. I love that. I'm a lioness. Yes, I like that.
Yes. So look, introduce yourself to the den so they can get a chance to know you a little bit.
I'm Chanel Davis. I'm from Dallas, Texas. I matriculated to and through Fisk University in Nashville, Tennessee. I currently now live in Charlotte. I've been here probably about 20 years. I'm a nonprofit operations executive, and I'm a mother of two. I have a 19-year-old daughter who will be 20 next week, and a 9-year-old son who will be 10 in November. So yeah, a big gap.
Yeah, congratulations.
So yeah, thank you. That's me.
mom and got the sweater. Right on.
Yes, established in 2004. Yep, that's right. This was my Mother's Day present to myself this year. So yeah.
Nice. Go ahead, tee it up, Herm. What you got?
All right. Hey, Chanel. So the reason why I brought you on is because we always talk about fatherhood with a daughter from parenting a daughter through a father's perspective. So through a mother's perspective, what do you think is the most challenging part about mothering a daughter?
Okay. Yeah. So that whole, I don't know if y'all probably see this a lot on social media, that my broke best friend.
Yeah.
And
I got one of those. I got two of them. Yeah.
Right. So that to me is, and probably will be the hardest part, because for two reasons, right? Because that's your partner, right? That's your partner in crime for things, but you still a mama, you still a parent, and we're not friends. There's a lot of times in their lives that we're not friends, sweetie. But they think that you are, and I have learned to accept that for me, right? That I created this, right? Like, I want you to feel comfortable with me. I want you to talk to me. So oftentimes I'm bringing you around. I see my besties on. So thank y'all for being here to support this tonight. But, I'm bringing you around the girls, right? I'm having girls night in, you're there, and you hanging out with mama and my friends. So you thinking that they're your friends and you thinking I'm your friends. So I have to say that was definitely challenging for me to try to navigate that with my daughter as she grew in different stages of, well, she, in her mind, her young mind, juvenile, right? Oh, that's my friend. And, but as soon as I tell you to clean your room or do your chores or something, it's like, I don't want to do that. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm your mama. And she's like, no, but you're my friend. And I'm like, no. So, you know what I mean? So it's not all her fault, right? I had to recognize that I'm creating some of this issue as well, right? So that's been probably the most difficult, is when are we friends? And now that she's almost 20, we're in a whole different phase. But when she was like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, we're not friends. But I think I set that tone of, we're friendly, we're friends, because she's thinking she's doing everything I'm doing. So who are you to tell me to clean my room? Because we're friends, right? So that was difficult. That was difficult for sure.
Chanel, I want to get into some of those stages a little later. I have a few more questions, but start it off, I want to ask you about your parenting style. How would you describe your parenting style? And I heard you say the relationship and dynamics have changed. So has your parenting also evolved, and how so?
Sure. My parenting style was very loose. Unfortunately, so for Kendall, my daughter, she's an adult, not say her name, but she was born in Tennessee, and for a lot of the formative years of her life, I was a single mom, and it's not a bad thing, right? But but I also was a single mom without a co-parent for about like the first 7, 8 years of her life. So I parented very loose because I was working. I'm work. So it's like shower her with gifts, and so she doesn't feel less than, or give her this, or take her here and buy this and this, because I want her to never feel that she didn't have. Not that was. I don't know if that's good, bad, or indifferent. Call it what you want, but that's so my parenting style with her in her formative younger years was very loose, and I'm in a stage in life now that I can admit that. And if I had to do it all, I don't have any regrets, but if I had to do it over again, I wouldn't do it that way, right? But I was very kind of loose and lax, right? But she was playing dress up and doing the lipstick and the hair, the wig, so she's emulating mommy, and I wanted her to always I never wanted her to feel like she was lacking anything, and also too, I grew up in a 2-parent home, and I didn't want her to feel bad because she didn't have what I had growing up. So I think my parenting style then was very, very, very lax. But then, of course, as she grew older into adolescence and being a teenager, it was like trying to crack it down, because I see how society is with youth, adolescent girls. We see it all in the media and everything. And so we wanted to make sure she didn't become a statistic or that she didn't go down a wrong path. So I kind of tried to get a little more stern in her later years. But at that point, of course, you can imagine the pushback. Like, you never cared before, now you care now. So that was my parenting style was very lax, and then it became very stern. And I think that kind of caused a lot of friction with us.
Hey, Chanel.
Yeah.
So I think we were talking backstage, and I was saying, I have 2 daughters myself, 23, almost 23 and 20. Hey, ladies, what's up? If they watch, right? But I think for a father, we have different fears, right? So when I found out I was having a girl, it was one of my proudest moments, right? I wasn't happy about that. Yeah. I think, but sometimes God gives you what you actually need instead of what you want to help develop you, right? And so I know a lot of my fears were later in their lives, right? Because when they're little girls, as dads, you see them, they see you as a certain way, they give certain type of reverence if you're in their lives. But I know growing up what they were going to encounter as far as men and just adversities in life. So my question is more in line with as a young parent with a younger parent. I'm not sure exactly how old you are.
Well, thank you.
What are some of the fears that you had starting off the process? The initial fears, right? Maybe thinking about being a single parent, and then as well the future fears of what they may encounter, right? Some of the things that you were kind of thinking about in that process.
Great question. So my initial fear when she was born, because again, I was a single parent and not single parent. I'm a single parent again, but now I'm co-parenting, right? But a single parent with no help at that point. So my initial fear was like, Lord, what am I doing? Can we cuss here? We don't cuss on the show. Yeah. But I was like, what the hell am I doing? I was like,
you forgot where you at. She forgot where she was at. Go ahead.
Well, I'm a lady and a scholar, so I want to make sure. But what the hell am I doing? Was really my initial fear.
Jabri is too. He was a set up gender reveal, so it's
okay. No, but my initial fear was probably more internal, right? Because I mean, I'd never been a mom before. I didn't know what I was doing. It wasn't the trajectory to plan for my life. So it was really more about what am I doing? I know what a responsibility it is that I'm taking on to be a mom, right? To be a parent. And so for me, that initial fear was like, what am I doing? The funny story is my daughter was the first baby I'd ever held. Now, while I've always loved children, babies, I was like, oh God, I don't know what to do. They heavy all any kind of way and flopping and the diapers. So I was like, So she was the first baby I'd ever held. And so there was a lot of, there wasn't, and we're transparent, right? There wasn't a lot of nurturing those first probably 3 months because I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know. I just know what my mom had told me. And it was just like, okay. Thankfully, my besties are there on. So they came down to visit. They helped get me into shape. I had a village around me that kind of helped me whip it together, But so my initial fear was like, I just don't want to hurt her. I don't want to damage her, whether it was physically, emotionally. My degree's in psychology, so I know that stuff kind of stays with you, even though you may never realize it, right? But I was like, I don't want to hurt her in any way. But I know I love her. There's an instant innate love that you just have. So that part was already there. But it was like, do I know how to nurture a human being? Do I know how to do that? So that was my initial fear, was just making sure I didn't hurt her in any way. And how am I going to nurture her when I'm like, I don't even know what I'm doing. And so that was more the initial fear. It was internal, but as she grew, and we went through a lot of things, and that whole thing of, you don't know my story, I could write a whole book, right? But it became nobody else better hurt her, right? Because now I'm mama bear. I'm into it. And so you were just invested. You are invested 100%. no matter what it was I was doing, work related organizations, whatever the case, nobody ever better hurt her. And I think that's I tied that back to the whole friend versus mama thing, because she's calling me with the drama with her friends and a teacher or something. I'm like, who did it? What happened? So the initially it was an internal fear for me for her, but as she grew older, it became external, more of I don't want anybody else messing with mine. I mean, I will drop it all and have in the past to be there, get there, do for her, or to make sure that she was okay or not harmed. And so I bet as she grew older, and even now to this day, when she texts me and called me, I have this. There's always this because I'm
Every
thinking
time.
like,
Every
right? I'm
time.
like, do I need to be ready to go? Do I need to be ready to go? So, so that is this initially internal fear, and then as she grew older, it was more external, like making sure that no one around us or around her was hurting her.
I appreciate
Love
that.
it. Love it. Love it. So how are you, ma'am? How are you getting settled in the Lions Den?
Who, me?
Uh-huh.
Oh, I'm good.
You the only new one.
Yeah.
You the only new one here.
A hot seat earlier.
I was like,
Okay.
y'all my peoples. Y'all my
Okay.
peoples.
Okay.
I'm good.
Good. Because I got a question for you. Okay.
Uh-oh.
You ready?
No, that was a setup, Herman. You ain't tell me I was gonna get set up on this call.
Ain't no setup. Hey, it's all like work. Trust me.
Got you.
Okay. So here's the question.
Uh-huh.
What was the hardest thing for you to let go of in order for your daughter to be who she needs to be for her? The reason why I say that is because it's very important not to live, or want your daughter to live in your shadow, or, or if there's some things that you didn't, get it, holla at them. All right. So if there's some things that you, I know.
That wasn't me.
No, so what I'm saying is that there may be some things that you may not have accomplished in your life, and then you see her, pursuing certain things. But when was it that you realize I need to let her be who she is, not what I want her to be?
So that's still a work in progress. I don't think that that's ever going to be something for me that is, there was a defining moment where that happened, but there were critical times in her high school years, right? Because, she's been reared to be on a certain track in life. And, nobody wants to be a disappointment. And I know she didn't either. And so there were a couple times where her junior, senior year, I think her junior year, when she told me, I think, because there was a while, there's nothing wrong with this, but there she was like, I want to be a nail tech. I want to be a fashion designer. I was like, what? Like, okay, well, what's your plan? Right. She didn't have one. So I was like, that's not going to work. And then she's decided to go on to the track. She decided to go off to a 4-year university and then go to med school and all that. She's pursuing at some, she's in her sophomore year at undergrad. So there was her junior, I think it was like her junior year, when I had to say, just fall back a little bit, because if not, you're going to push her away. And she and I have always had 2 rules between us. The first rule has always been, don't ever let me find out something about you, toward you, about anything about you from somebody else. So you better tell me first so I can help you through it and know how to defend you. And then the second thing was, there's nothing that you will do, say, that we can't get through together. So it's like her junior year was when I noticed, kind of like at 16, that, okay, I need to fall back a little bit so she can grow and be whoever she's going to be, or who she's becoming. And then, but it's still a work in progress for me. And I don't think she knows that, right? If she's watching on, she knows it now, but it's still a work in progress, because I'm a mom, right? Like I'm a mama bear, like for real. I might stand in the shadows, but I'm a grizzly for mine. So it's still a work in progress for me. But I do remember a couple of times her junior year, I had to say, oh, you pushing her too far, you pushing her too much. just kind of fall back a little bit, even though I'm like on her, like deadlines, scholarships, blah, 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 internships, and my friend trying to get you a job, and so trying to do this, and you need to work. And but it was kind of like, ooh, fall back, give her a little space, and let her figure it out on her own. She's been reared to make good decisions, so she knew. She and still knows, right? But I would say about her junior year, but I will also put that caveat in there that is still a work in progress for me, for sure.
Outstanding. I love that answer.
Hey, one thing I want to say, Chanel, in the very beginning is that when you was talking about, you know, in the early stages of raising a child, can't nobody 100% get that kind of stuff right. So I know you was looking for words like, you know, I don't know if it was right or not. Can't nobody, because kids don't come with instruction, and not every kid is the same. So we got to stop thinking about if we did something right or wrong, you know what I mean? Because and focus on what we're doing now, you know what I mean? Because man, I mean, the things I was doing, things I was doing, you would have thought my kid was a football when she was born. That's what I was doing. But anyway, but one thing I do have to ask, right? Hey, you know, don't let me get anyway. One thing I do have to ask is, like, I know you come from a 2-parent household. You have a strong relationship with your mother, right? And you have a strong relationship with your daughter. Your daughter pretty much followed the same track as you have, as far as going to college away from home, states away from home, right? You did the same thing. What are some of the similarities that you see in Ken Dog? That's what I call her. What are some of the similarities you see in her and yourself? And what are some of the things you're like, now I know what my mama is talking about?
Yeah. She's tenacious, right? And I think Kendall, my daughter is, I mean, you know, I'm putting her in my top 5 heroes, right? Because she is tenacious. I would definitely say that, because she is somebody who she's going to try to figure it out. And if she's set her eyes on something, she's going to do it. And I remember being that way in umpteen. I'm not going to, well, I don't care. But in 1996, 97. In 1996, 97, I was deciding where I was going to go off to school. That was me. Like, yeah, I know y'all want me to stay here, but I'm gone. And that really was Kendall. I mean, she had amazing opportunities with so many universities. I mean, now it's the whole thing now, right? The decision day, and you post on, all the schools that got accepted to and all that. And I remember trying to like put her picture in there and then put all the schools around it. I had the minimum. I mean, it was so many schools she was accepted to with funds. It was hard, right? But when she chose that, and her reasoning to me was, I want to go off and forge my own path. And I want to go somewhere where nobody knows me and nobody knows you. And so whatever happens to me is because of me and not because of, anything else. And I remember feeling like that in 1996, 97. Like, it wasn't that I was trying to hurry up and get away from home. I just wanted to go somewhere where nobody knew me, nobody knew my parents, and I could make my own way. And it wasn't like there was nothing wrong. There was nothing wrong at home. There was nothing wrong where I was from. There was nothing like that. It was just like, no, I just want to be and want to do me. I wasn't trying to say like, oh, I want to go and be a whole different person. It wasn't even that. And the same thing. And I felt that with Kendall. So when she said that to me, because I don't think I'd ever shared that with her either. So when she said that to me, I kind of backed off, and because it was like, I get it, right? But here are the steps to that, because what us young 17-year-olds don't think about is in-state versus out-of-state tuition. So it's kind of like, so you want to go out, that's cool, but what's that going to cost us? Where they're giving you money, but is it covering this? So, but at the most importantly though, when she said that, she's like, I just want to go and forge my own way. I just want to do my own thing, and I want it to be whatever I want it to be about me, and because it is her life. So who am I to stand away from that? And that was one of those moments too, where it's like, encourage her, don't stifle her. because I always want her to feel comfortable and knowing that I'm going to be there for her, and support her regardless. But like, if she would have said she wanted to be a nail tech, girl, well, let's figure out how you can own your own salons or 5. You know what I
That's
mean?
right.
Let's figure that out. So when she said that, I want to go here, and she was she knows how to get me because I'm a planner. So she knew kind of like, well, I picked Xavier because they graduate the largest number of African-American women that go on to be doctors. And I want to be a doctor now. So, I mean, how could I say no to that? So,
They
so
know
she
how to
knew
play
that
you. They know how to play you.
so she knew to come to me with a plan. She knew to come to me with a plan. So, yeah.
Nice.
So Chanel, I heard you mention that you came from a 2-parent household. And I know my mother, she was raised by both of her grandparents. And then to find yourself as a solo parent, I can imagine that be very challenging. So what was that whole like reality check like for you?
Yeah, there was a lot of guilt for a lot of years, right? Like I'm saying third person now, even still, but I felt like a failure. I felt like I was failing her, because I wasn't giving her that. Because we know as parents, we've all been reared and trained to think we want to give our children more than what we had. So how am I not giving her that, the minimum of knowing that there's 2 of us in the home? So there was a lot of guilt for a lot of years, and it kind of piggybacks to the initial portion of saying, I gave her this, I bought this, I did this, we went here, and to try to compensate for what I thought was a lack. But what I learned was there wasn't a lack. All she ever wanted was me. And if it was a father there, it would have been, all she ever wanted was us. And, I will say, she taught me the purest form of love. Oh, God, I see now. Y'all get me all emotional.
Oh, it's okay, sis.
Because she loved me regardless of what I bought her or what I couldn't buy her or who was there or who wasn't. But what she always knew was that I was going to be there. And so I had to, it wasn't a bondage that she even had me in. It was me. Right. So I had to release that from myself. Like, don't be guilty. There's no guilt here anymore. There's no guilt. There's no shame anymore. And it's part of how I grew up, how I was raised, all of that. I had to release that for me so that I could be better for her. Because at the end of the day, all she ever wanted was me. I don't know if y'all remember back when she was a younger kid, it was like Bratz dolls and Barbies and all that. I was like, oh, she's gonna get this, she's gonna get it. She didn't care about any of that. She played herself twice. She'd go play with pots and pans in the kitchen and be like, mommy, I'm making music. She didn't care about any of that, right? So but that was a struggle for me. I didn't struggle a lot with it just being she and I, but I struggled internally because I felt the guilt and the shame of, you going to school and they're like, oh, the father-daughter dance. I'm like, oh, well, I guess that's just me. You know what I mean? So, but that struggle was for me internally, not necessarily her, because all she ever wanted was just me.
I thank you so much. Before we get to Jabri's question, thank you for your transparency. Thank you for being so real and raw. And that's real. So if you don't mind, we might clip that part up because I think more moms need to see and hear that. Okay.
For sure. I hope this helps somebody. If it helps just one person, it's fine. Just release it, y'all. Just release it.
Yeah, that's good stuff. That's real good stuff. So the way that I grew up, it was my mom, myself. I'm the oldest. I had 2 younger sisters. My dad wasn't a huge presence in my life consistently. Then once I got on my own, of course, I have my own 2 daughters. So I've had a front row seat to a lot of this stuff, right? And what I've noticed with mothers and daughters, especially just sitting back and looking at my sisters, like, why would you say that? You know what she's gonna do, right? She's not all the way there. First of all, I love you, Ma. If you're watching this, I promise. Yeah, don't call me about this part, right?
She called.
But she's gonna call. She's gonna call.
Oh, she definitely call it.
Yeah, I still love her though, I promise. But she knows. But no, so I would sit back and I would watch, like, and I would notice like this internal conflict. And I'm like, how is this happening? Like, you shouldn't be. Yeah, I don't know why this is going on. And I think what I surmise, even looking at my daughters, and they have a great relationship with their mom and everything like that. And she's a great woman. She does well for the girls. But what I've noticed is at a certain age, there's a clashing moment, right? They get to a point where they kind of smell themselves a little bit, and I don't. And I've seen situations where there have been jealousy, you know what I mean? And those are horrible situations. So I wouldn't really want to speak on that too much. But I've noticed a clash to where there comes a turning point in relationships. And if you don't steer it the right way, it could be really ugly between a lot of situations with moms and daughters. Have you noticed any of that? Well, maybe not even in your relationship. Have you seen it from the outside looking in, or did you experience any of that when you were younger? Because it's a real thing.
Yeah. I would say all of the above. I'm saying all of the above. I've mentored young girls, so I've seen it. And they reach out to me more when they're like, "Oh, my mom's getting on my nerves." I'm like, well, tell me what you did first, because so you get it. And then of course I experienced it too with my mom. I mean, I love my mother to death. The top 5 heroes, she's there. Number one, I get it. But I think, and of course with my daughter, definitely about that 8th grade, 7th, 8th grade, it was kind of like, you start feeling yourself, you smelling yourself, and you're developing, and you think you grow, and you learning how to do nails and lashes and hair and make, and it's like, okay, so all of that, for sure, absolutely. But I think what kept my daughter and I from fracturing our relationship completely, there definitely were some times where we were like, okay, we're gonna take a beat, because right now this is not it. You can say whatever you want to say in a respectful way, but you're not gonna disrespect me, right? But I think what saved us was finally me realizing, like, hey, I'm a mom. Like, I'm up in age at this point. I've done a lot of the growing and changing that I'm gonna do. Right. So it's kind of, I am who I am. I mean, I'm going to learn, continue to grow, continue to be, at my age at that point, it's kind of, I am who I am. However, what I had to realize was she's growing, she's changing. What she liked at 6 is not what
What's up,
man? I know y'all can just pick up the pieces. I know what y'all saying.
Yeah,
I know you know what you're saying, y'all.
You froze up a little bit, Chanel.
And you know what? And look, it was a good point too. And then and I don't know. Y'all,
so that's what saved us. That's literally what saved us from fracturing completely, was because I allowed her to be whoever she was becoming, because I also know that may not be who you are in a couple years from now. So I just when I said earlier about step back a little bit, just fall back a little bit. She went through some things, and as all young girls do. But instead, I had to learn to not be that mom that's like, and because that's not gonna help. Because for my daughter, because she's similar to me. She's really more like my mom than I am, but we do have similarities. And so Kendall is, I'm harder, where Kendall and I are the same, is that I'm harder on myself than anybody's ever going to be. So when someone comes to me, it's like, well, this and that, and I'm like, oh God, I already beat myself up enough. My daughter's the same way. So once I realized that about her, I was able to just kind of, just as she, chill out, mom, chill. Okay, cool, I'm chilled. Right, but also be that, and I learned this from my mom. I'm that invisible safety net where I'm here when you need me, not if, right? Not if you need me, but it'll definitely be when. I'm here when you need me, because you're gonna need me. Because that stays like that, sowing your oats and smelling yourself. You think you know everything, cool. But I'm gonna be here for you when you need me, because you're gonna need me, because you don't know everything. There's no way you could. I'm 45 and I don't know everything. I still call my mama like, now what now? You know what I mean? Like, so
No,
yeah.
No, that
You
makes
finally
sense.
told your age.
Right. Well, look,
I
shout out to
did,
Brandy.
45.
Shout out to Brandy. She was like, I remember when they told me that it was time for me to take my son home, and I was like, what? I have to leave him, right?
Correct.
She was
Yes.
like, she was like, aren't y'all coming? Right. So
yes, that's the thing. That's the thing about when you're a parent, you're like, so when everybody left and it was just the silence or it's the crying in you, and you're like, huh? Because all the people are around you and they're helping you with the bottles and they're changing the diapers and they want you to rest. So they're changing the diapers, they're changing the clothes, and you're like, oh, y'all gone. Everybody gone now? Now what?
Right.
Yeah, so I totally get that, Brandy.
Yeah.
I get that, Brandy. Yes.
So look, so here's mine. And I was trying to think about how to say this, and it came to me. And you said that you were raised with your mother and father, correct? And so but you did say early on the type of parent that you were. You were more like a hands-off until it was time to put hands on. Amen.
Put them hands on. Yeah.
Right. Now my question is, when did you realize that you were starting to sound like your mother and your father? See, because think about it. To your point, like think about, to your point, it's times when, hey, you started smelling yourself too. They didn't know what they was talking about until they did, until you realized it, right? And then all of a sudden, like myself, I talk to my daughter and I say, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, wait a minute. No.
Yes.
Right? Because now I'm hearing my mother, you know what I'm saying, say this. But when did that happen to you? Do you remember that time?
Yeah, so it's so crazy. The thing about it, so when Kendall was younger, she did competition dance. Now, if anybody who's out here watching who has done dance class is fine. I'm not knocking that. But if you do competition dance, you almost could put your child through private school for a year or two doing competition dance, right? So, you know, that it was one particular day, and she didn't know, she didn't appreciate she didn't have the knowledge of the appreciation for the sacrifice that was being made for her to do these things, right? So it's like, girl, I done got off work and I bought these costumes and I did this and that, the third, and competition dance. It's not always local. You got to go here, go there, go everywhere. Like, I'm driving all the way here and there. And she gonna sit here and say, I ain't dancing. Huh? What she mean? She mean you're not dancing? And it's just one of those moments when I was just like, oh, you don't understand.
Oh,
you don't understand that.
Yeah.
Oh no, you dancing.
Right.
Because I took PTO, I left work early, I done drove all the way out here, I done spent $700 on costumes, you got hair make. So that was just, I mean, there were several, right? But that was like one of the most poignant ones, because I was like, oh, this girl is crazy. This girl think that this, yes. I was like, oh no, you going. And then she got out there and was like this.
Oh man. Oh, really?
Oh, so I'm back there like, girl,
you want to snatch a knot,
please.
Didn't
yes.
You? Oh yeah.
Yes, because you got three different costumes. You got to change your hair. Da, da, da. And again, my mind is always like, I didn't take off work. Girl, I didn't take off work to be here, you know. And so that was one of those moments where it's like, no, you need to be sat down and you need to understand, honey, the sacrifices that are being made for you, sweetheart. Okay, because and again, but she just didn't have the knowledge of the truth, right? She didn't have the knowledge. To her, it just looked like, oh well, I said I wanted to do it. Everything I've said I wanted to do, you made sure it was done. I mean, I don't want to do it anymore. And it was just like, what? So she had to. She was, and I think at that point she was 8. Mm-hmm. She had been doing dancing. She was about 4 or 5 at that point. She was 8, and when we sat down. And I think a lot of times too, what we as parents and moms with our daughters, right? What we forget is that they're little humans. So they'll understand. Just tell them. So once I sat down with her and said, hey, you know, kind of how you acted earlier today when we drove 2 hours to get you there and like, what was that about? What was all that attitude? And she was like, I don't want to dance anymore. I just thought I'm thinking, oh, I thought you loved dance. She was like, no, I was only doing it because I thought you wanted me to do it. I'm like, girl, I want, you know how much money could it save
Right.
But yeah, it was like we just needed to. It's that open dialogue, and I love what you said to me earlier, Seth, about transparent conversation. We need to do that with our daughters, like have transparent conversation at their level,
That's
right?
right.
But
Of course.
when she was 8, I mean, it would have been nothing to be like, okay, Kendall, all right, we're getting ready to go get the stuff for your hair. Are you good? I should have, done that and said, hey, and then let her tell me, no, I'm not. We're going over getting these Capezio shoes and, got to get them in black and nude and the tights and the da 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 da. And if I just would have had a transparent conversation with her at her level, it would have been like, oh, okay, you don't even want to do this no more. But that was one of the most poignant turning points for me when I said, oh, this girl don't get it. so
Right.
yeah.
You know what? Here, real quick, I do remember y'all. My daughters plays the piano and everything, right? And then I remember when she first started it, and it was more like a force, right? We wanted her to get exposed to stuff, and she's doing it, deep, 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 deep. And so I'm thinking about it. I'm like, okay, one of her first recitals, she really didn't want to go. In my mind at first, I'm like, listen, if you're not gonna sound like Beethoven, act like it. I mean, I want you to do all of it. I don't care what you don't like, but it didn't matter, right? Because she really didn't like it like that. And it was just me, we wanted her, just expose her to certain things, but we really have to be able to listen to our children, even though they don't know, they don't know the right vernacular to use, but they know when they don't like something.
And they're telling you, they're telling you in their own way. They are
that they don't like it. And I know I am gonna give this back to you, Herm, but they also know when they don't like people. Keep certain people out your kids' face. Anyway, go ahead, Big Herm.
That's right.
So one thing I wanted to go back on is when you said that you being at your old age and everything, that you are who you are.
Okay,
right?
I didn't say all that.
Did I add that? Hold on, wait a minute.
Her dog, I'm texting your wife right now. I'm texting your wife right now.
No, we just go ahead. We're gonna put on time.
Her dog, your wife getting you tonight for that. Because ain't nobody say nothing about no old age.
Okay, my bad. I thought that's what you said. All right. All right.
You ain't think that. Sharita, get him.
My bad. So at your advanced level, right? You said
advanced.
You are.
Jesus
Can I say what I gotta say, man? Come on, y'all.
No, I'm so tired of you. Man, listen, you about to get us. Listen, just because you stay on Facebook.
Where do I log out? Where do I log out? Where do I log out?
The comments is popping. Look at it, man. What is going on?
I got a point here.
Thank you. Go best friend. That's my best friend. Go best friend. That's my best friend. Don't do it, Herb dog.
All right. Well, you know what I'm saying.
That dinner gonna be real cold tonight. I'll tell you that.
And mine too, because I ain't let your ass off.
I already ate. That's all.
Well, you won't get no dinner tomorrow. Listen, she don't play about me.
For no dessert.
Hey, but what I'm saying is, guys, no, but what you said about, you are where you are, and you pretty much stuck in your way, right?
I didn't say that, but go ahead.
You understand that Kendall was still growing and changing.
Correct.
I think that's a lot of things. That's a lot of things that people got to understand is that these are little humans that's going to change. They can't always adapt to you. You know what I'm saying? There's sometimes that you got to be able to meet them at their level, right? But what I wanted to ask you, because I know you have a brother, correct?
I do.
Okay, so you grew up in a household with a brother, and you probably saw how your brother was raised and how you were raised. It probably was a difference, right? And now
I don't think we have enough time for that, but go ahead. But go ahead.
But now you are in the same position, even though their ages apart, where you have a daughter and you have a son. Do you now kind of see why things? I don't know how it was in your household when you was coming up, and what your philosophy is now between boys and girls. But do you have a better understanding of why it was like that in your house, and how do you feel like the house should be when it comes to boys and girls?
Yeah, and I'm gonna start by saying I'm guilty, right? I am guilty because the way that I reared Kendall at this age is different from the way I rear my son. It's different. And I saw that in my household growing up. Mom, if you watching, hey girl, hey. But we can talk about it later. But the way that they raised me and my brother was different. It was different. And I think for me, I equated it to, oh, I'm old, I'm the oldest, and I'm more responsible. And honestly, it was a different time back then, right? Like I was a latchkey kid when I was 5 years old. Ain't nobody doing that today. That's just not happening, right? Like I was babysitting. My parents both worked. They were we were a working family, right? So I babysit my brother. You know what I mean? Daycare is high all over, right? So it's kind of like, okay, but I will still say, regardless of how I felt all those years ago, you would think that would make me perhaps do things differently, where it'd be a little more equitable for my children, but it's not. I think also I think I tried to explain it away by saying, "Oh, well, see, me and my brother were only 3 years apart, so they still should have judged us the same way, and my kids are 10 years apart, so that's different." But it's not, right? I mean, mothers and daughters. For me, I'm not gonna speak for everybody. I'm just gonna speak for me. The way that I rear my daughter is completely different from the way I rear my son. Even at the age, like I remember when Kendall was 10, and now that my son is about to be 10, the way that I raise him now, I'm extremely nurturing. And I think because I have a black son in America, right? We ain't gonna go all there. That's not what this is about. But I always want to make sure that he's nurtured and loved, and he's in tune with his feelings and his emotions, and he knows that it's okay. They playing Fortnite, raging out all day, every day. And I'm like, no, this is just a game. But, I want to make sure that he feels the love. Whereas it's kind of like, even though I'm saying, nope, you need to take the trash out, or you need to hold the door for mommy, or you need to get this, but I do coddle him. And I'm gonna be fully transparent. I do coddle him because I want him to feel the love. So when he goes out into this world, he's like, if don't nobody else love me, I know my mama does. And with Kendall, I was just, I just was like, you got to be better. You got to do this. You got to get it. You got to get it. You got to get it. And so it's different. And I'm guilty. Yeah. And I'm definitely guilty. So, okay, Herm Dog, you got it. I'm guilty.
Hold on. But there's something to be said to that, because for whatever reason, women want their sons to be coddled, but their girls to be tough.
So, well, here's it. Well, I don't want my son to be. I don't want my son to be weak. I want him, because society tells black men that they cannot. That society tells black men that they can't be in tune with their emotions. That if they understand the difference between being sad and happy, or if they cry, then they weak. But I don't want my son to be like that. I don't want him to be like that. The same way, even with Kendall. I didn't want her to be like that either. I didn't want her to be tough, but I wanted her to realize too. Y'all heard who said Malcolm X said? Black women are the most disrespected people in America. And so it's kind of like, so girl, it's not about I'm raising you to be tough, but what I am raising you is to be resilient, because you about to be knocked down in a way, and black men are going to be knocked down too, but it's in a different way. And so I know that to my children, it seems as though I'm parenting differently, but I am parenting differently, but I'm rationalizing it differently. I'm parenting them differently for different reasons, right? Like my daughter, she's going to a medical field, and whereas women in general, and especially black women, we got to do twice as. I know you've heard this. We got to do twice as much to get half the recognition. Right. So that's, and I don't want my daughter to be a statistic and all of that. Y'all heard all these things before, right? And then with my son, who's going to be a black man in America, I don't want him to walk out the house and somebody just shoot him down because they think he's a black man, because he mean mugged somebody or got a hoodie on or whatever. So, what's so funny is I want them both to be tough. Okay, let's just say I want them both to be tough, but I want them both to also be in tune with their emotions. But I think the way that I'm doing it, which, like I said, I'm guilty. I'm guilty because of the way it looks to them. Because they literally were
Gotcha.
on the phone before I came down here to log on for this. They were on the phone with each other, and literally, you let him play the game this long. If it was me, you would never let me play the game. So it's those type of things. They were just on the phone with each other talking. So, it is different. And I'm guilty because of how it looks to them, but I don't feel bad. I don't feel bad about the differences and how I'm parenting them, because they are each going to have and do have their own sets of
And that's the
issues
deal.
as
Yeah.
as a daughter, as African American girl, woman, and a Black son. There's just
And
going to be different.
I'm glad you said that too, because they are different individuals, period.
Mhm,
Right?
mhm,
And it's like, just
mhm.
because they came from you, they're not you. They're not little
Correct.
miniature you. So I get that. But go ahead. We're
Right.
gonna keep this moving. Go ahead, Danny.
Yeah, thank you, Chanel, for saying that, because I'm 38 and I still to this day say my brother is my mom's favorite, but you just provided a lot of context.
Mhm. Yep.
So thank you again for joining us on the podcast today. You have an almost 20-year-old and an almost 10-year-old, so you have a lot of skin in the game. I want to ask you, what is your mommy superpower?
Ooh, my mommy's superpower is, oh God, I would say making it happen. Making it happen. And making it happen with ease. And I think a lot of moms can relate to this, is that, nobody knows what goes on behind the scenes. I'm 45 now, and my mom is just now telling me stories about things that she went through. Like, I wanted to make sure y'all ate, and I had runs in my pantyhose, and I didn't get new stockings, because that stuff like that. Like, and I would say, making it happen. My children don't miss a beat. They don't. And if that means whatever sacrifice that means for me, that's it. Because they will always have what they need. They're gonna always have everything they need and majority of what they want. And that's my superpower. I just make it happen. You just, you never know. Like, you always hear that line, you don't know my story. You don't. And if you're close enough, you will. But my kids are never gonna be the sacrificial lamb for not getting things done. So that's my superpower. I'm just gonna make it happen.
Love it.
Hey, so real quick, first of all, I am my mom's favorite. I don't care what nobody says.
Whatever. There we go. Here we go.
I know that for a fact, and I know she treats them different. And who cares about them, right? But you kind of no, I love my sisters. I love my sisters. But earlier in the show, you kind of talked about not being friends. I'm not gonna say I disagree with that. I think there is a transition, right? Because if you really think about it, we're the same age, right? I had my daughter, my oldest daughter, when I just turned 23, and my youngest daughter when I was 25. So now that I'm 45, I'll be 46. More than almost the majority of my life, more than half of my life, right? I've had these people in my life at different stages of my life, and they've developed with me, and I've seen them grow, and they've seen me grow in ways that nobody else has. And so now that they're older, I wouldn't say, hey, we're friends, right? We're like, you're my bestie, or there's this or that, but we are friends. They are my people, right? And we've transcended to that. And that's been the hardest thing for me, realizing, all right, where's the balance at? What do I need to do to make sure?
Sure.
So have you thought about moving forward and what that relationship is going to look like? Because hey, let my mom tell it, when I was younger, I ain't one of your little friends, but lo and behold, I am
you
one
are
of
now.
her little friends now. Yeah.
So my daughter and I are friends now. We are. I'm fine with it. She sent me memes on TikTok, and we're Facebook friends, and she calls me. She be like, "Hey, girl," you know what I mean? But I'm like, literally, she'll kind of like, "Hey, girl," and I'll say, "Hey, you didn't text me today, or you didn't call me the way you're supposed to. I was gonna call you earlier, girl." So we do that "Hey, girl, hey" thing. So we are friends now. She'll be 20 next week. So we are at a point now where, hey, I reared you, you know, like I said, I'm that invisible safety net that you're gonna need, but I've reared you. I have instilled into you everything that I know how to at this point. And it's important for me that she does recognize me now at this stage in her life as a friend, because especially because she's away from me. And we talk about that invisible safety net. There might be some things that if we didn't have that closeness, she would not be comfortable to share with me. But because we are at that place where we can be friends, there are things she calls it. Like I said, it could be a random day me in the grocery store. She go, Mama, I got to tell you about so and so and so and so. I'm like, girl, I don't care about what's going on with your little friends. But because she views me as a friend, right? She's kind of like, well, I'm going to tell you, and then she'll say, well, what should I do? Or, you know, I want to be a better friend. So, you know, she calls me about advice about how to be a better friend. So we're definitely friends now. We had to go through that, because if not, I don't think she would have respected me as her mother if I would have continued the trajectory that I was on. So it's like I said, I was very lax, but then got real stern. But now we're in a good place. She's definitely my friend.
I think there's a part of it that we love how where it's actually going. Sometimes they overshare, and that part
yes,
gets a little creepy, right? But but I love it. I promise I do. I love where we're headed. I do.
Mm-hmm. And a funny story with that too. Well, a funny story with that too is because it's that fine line you teeter about being a parent and making sure they're responsible humans. She's in New Orleans, and I'm like, girl, you know, we need North Carolina for this election, so you're gonna be away. You do your absentee ballot. She's like, yeah, mama, yeah, mama, okay. And I'm like, no, girl, vote. You gotta do this, and you're not gonna be able to come back for the election. She was all like, okay. What's today? Today's Sunday, so I think it was this past maybe Tuesday, Wednesday. She texted me, Mama, and I was like, oh God, what? Because she's like, I got my ballot. I got it. And I mean, I didn't even know that she did what she was supposed to do. So it's just those moments where you are listening to me, right? Like, even though, you know, because you respect me, you're listening. And so it's those one little moments here and there that I'm like, oh, wow, it is going okay. Because she was like, I got my ballot in. I didn't even know she did it. I just thought she was talking crazy. You know, like I didn't think she was paying me no attention. Yeah. So that was a good mommy moment, because my daughter's voting, even though she's in New Orleans and not in Carolina. So yeah.
Hey, Chanel. So we about to wrap this up. I wanted to say thank you for coming on the show and being transparent with the audience. You know, talking about something so personal as far as how you raise your kids, it's not easy. You know what I'm saying? Especially when we're going off the cuff the way that we do. So the way that you was able to do that and share with the folks, I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem.
You got an exceptional little girl, you know what I mean? And tell her happy birthday for me. But just wanted to say thank you. Thank you for coming on. And hopefully one day we'll have you on again one day.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, everybody. This was great. Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. So that's what it's going to be. And we're going to see y'all again on the flip flop. All right. Right on. Later.